Hi friends, welcome back to Nearly Sane Games. I'm Neil, and this is the Calling Vegas report. Now this weekend I went to the Calling Las Vegas, and I got to meet a bunch of great people. I met Louis from Kitchen Table TCG. I met Josh and John from Hometown TCG. I got to meet the professor from Tulare Community College. I had him sign the librarian promo card, which was his spoiler card. I met Kellen from Red Zone Rogue, Steven from DM Armada, and David, who's also known as Dozer, who does the Tank Prism decks. I got to meet a lot of great people there, and it was a really incredible time. Now, the big event on Friday was the Tales of Aria world premiere event, and this was a Tales of Aria sealed event. It was basically like a giant pre-release, and it was a whole lot of fun. We had the Fabled was pulled there, and you could tell when that happened as we're all sitting there opening our six packs. Suddenly there's a giant amount of screaming going on from one section of the convention center, and that cheering just grew as people discovered that the Fabled was actually pulled. It was really exciting, a lot of fun to be at. If you get a chance to be at any of these callings, I would definitely recommend going. It was a lot of fun. But let's take a look at the deck that I built for the event, and we'll talk about how it kind of ran and how the matchups kind of went. All right, let's have a look at what we got. Let's start by taking a look at the promo cold foils. These are really pretty in person. I don't know if you can see this here, but these actually have colored cold foiling on them. You can see a little bit of the yellow here. If I can keep it in focus, there you go. A little bit of yellow cold foiling on that. And this has a little bit of green on there. The cold foiling is kind of aggressive on these. I think Amulet of Lightning is the worst, because if you don't actually get the cold foiling in focus, you just kind of have this big silver blob on there. I don't know. I feel like they probably could have toned that down a little bit and had those pop a little bit shinier. But those are real pretty. Also, let's take a look at some of the other things we got in the pool. We won't go over the whole pool, but you know, just some rares. These are things that didn't go into my deck. I did manage to get Duskblade, so I'll be curious to play around with that. And a Frostlock for the Ranger. I managed to get at least one Majestic in each hero. So I picked Oldhim as my hero, and we did okay with that. Let's start off with the big hitters. Terra Sunder is a gross Guardian action. Your next Guardian attack gains +1, dominate, and if this hits a hero, they discard 2 cards. Go again. Very powerful if you can get it to work. It's a 3 cost, so in limited, I was looking for a hand of blue, basically, so I could throw this down and still have enough to play another attack. And then Awakening. Awakening is a really cool card. It's a setup card, and we're going to get to that in a minute when I talk about my matchups. We have our equipment here. This is what I pulled. Plume of Evergrowth. there is a chance to go back and get an Earth Instant card from your graveyard to your hand. I believe Earth Action card or Earth Instant. I did use that once. Code of Frost. This is nice. Here, have a free Frostbite token. And I try to use that every game. And Runaways. This will prevent 1 damage if you've been dealt damage this turn. And this was really only useful against the Runeblade. Most other heroes we're going to hit for 1 big attack each turn. Here's some setup cards we have. Again, I tried to push heavy blue because as a Guardian, he is going to need some big costed attacks. These are all kind of taxing effects. Discard a card unless you pay 2. You can only play this if you've Ice Fused this turn, which makes it a little bit difficult to activate. These are pretty gross. Hero discards a card unless they pay 1. If they decide to discard a card, then you just kind of stack these up. The best play for this is to pitch a blue and pay 1, and if they try to play multiples, then you'll have that to pay for it. Pitching is better than discarding because the card doesn't go away. That's important. And then these will let you give an attack action dominate unless the opponent pays for it. I think I used this card once, and this card was mostly blue for pitch. All right, and then we have some setup. These are going to be, you want to use these to build up your attack. Create 2 Frostbite tokens. If the next attack hits, which is pretty good, give your next attack +2, and if it hits a hero, create a Frostbite token. And then these are a next turn kind of thing. This drops down an aura, and if it was fused, you create a Seismic Surge token. I don't think I was able to ever fuse these. At the beginning of your next action phase, destroy Strength of Sequoia, and the next action card you play is +1 or +2. These are really good turn 1 plays. Set up an aura and prep for the next turn. Now let's take, we have I got 1 defense reaction, and this is pay 2, defend for 6, and if it was fused, defend for 8. It's a pretty good rate, especially good in Guardian, I think. Then we have some Guardian actions. These are my earthly Guardian actions. Mulch Strong at 7 and 6 for 4, and if it's fused, it hits. They put a card from their arsenal on the bottom of their deck. This is kind of Command and Conquer, which is nice, but it costs 4, so it's difficult to pay for the pitch and still have an Earth card to fuse, but still a little bit scary. Entangle, if it was fused, next hit during their next attack, it's -2. I've been hit with this fused. It's not too bad of attacks. It only costs 3 to play. 6 and 5. The red is 7. If you know you're going to be hit, then you're going to be hit. So there's not much you can do. And then Earth Fusion. If Entwine was fused, it gains +2. I believe I did fuse this once. Again, it's a 2 cost attack. So not too bad on needing a whole lot of pitch. And so you got a better chance of being able to figure out your fuse. Getting the fuse to go off was complicated and takes more thinking about how exactly you're going to set everything up. But when it works, it's great. Some, I don't think I ever used Summerwood Shelter for anything other than pitch, but you can boost up on a defense. And then this thing's gross. 2, and the next attack action you play this turn gains +5. So very good. And then we have some basic earth attacks. Autumn's Touch, 6 for 3, pretty good rate. Break Ground. I used this several times where I'd end up with something in my arsenal that doesn't look like it was going to be working for this turn, and to be able to take it out of the arsenal and draw a new card to potentially arsenal again when you're done with this turn. It's not a bad effect. And 6 for 3 or 7 for 3, also a pretty okay rate. Then we have our icy things, and icy encounter, 6 for 2, not bad. Winter's Grass, 6 for 2 and blocks for 3. It's just vanilla. This one creates a frostbite token if it hits, but I'll take 6 for 3. This is basically Command and Conquer without the text. Snow Under. If it's fused, create a frostbite. If it hits, create a frostbite token. It's okay. The 7 is a little bit better. Glacial Footsteps. Yeah, I should probably talk about this card. This card is a beast, costs 6. And in my first matchup, I managed to get to play Awakening in my second to last turn. And Awakening says for 2, if you have less health than the opposing hero, create a Seismic Surge token equal to the difference. If Awakening was fused, instead create twice that many Seismic Surge tokens. Search your deck for a Guardian attack action card with cost less than or equal to the number of Seismic Surge tokens you control. Reveal it and put it in your hand and shuffle your deck. So I was at 2 life. My opponent was at 9. I cast this and fused it and got 14 Seismic Surge tokens. I went and I searched Glacial Footsteps. So I had a Glacial Footsteps for my next turn. And I arsenaled it. And on the following turn, and then I swung at him, I believe with the Snow Under, and swung for 5. No, I had to have swung for 6. I swung something at him for 6. And he decided to take it and went down to 3. And the reason he did that was because on his next turn, he swung into me for 9. I was able to block, or he swung at me for 10. I was able to block 9 of it and go down to 1. And on the next turn, I was able to play Glacial Footsteps for free without paying its cost and fuse it. So I was swinging for 9 dominated. It was a beautiful turn, and I do like it. And then we also have Thump. And if Thump's power is greater than its base power, it has Dominate, and if it hits a hero, they discard a card. I was able to throw this a few times and actually have it be dominated, which worked quite well. So as far as my matchups go, my first round was against an Oldhim mirror match. That was the turn I had Glacial Footsteps for 9 coming at him dominated while he was at 3 life. And that was too much for him, so I was able to win that one. In round 2, I was up against Dozer, who was playing Lexi. And he started the match just handing me Frostbite tokens and shoot an arrow at me that I can't block. It's dominated. And I gain a Frostbite token, and that really threw me off a lot. I had a lot of good hands where I had 4 cards that were going to do great things, and I get a Frostbite token, and now I can't do those great things. So that was annoying, but we ended that match at a tie. He was at 2, I was at 1, and I don't think that there would be a clear winner if we continue to play that match. I think that still would have gone for a while. In round 3, I played DM Armada, and we had an excellent match. He was also playing Oldhim, and it was a very back and forth match, throwing hammers at each other and beating each other up. I think time was called, and I think we were both at 1. And I played out my turn. He was able to block it out. He came up. He was the final turn. He had 1 attack to throw at me for 5. I had 1 card in hand that could block for 3, and the other 3 cards could not block at all. And so he killed me in the end. Oh no, he was at 3 life. I was at 2 life, and I could only block 3 of his 5, and he killed me just like that. It was a great match, a lot of fun. Round 4, I played another Oldhim mirror match. He had the shield, the legendary shield, and it was a slugfest. We were throwing hits back and forth at each other. He ended up blocking out a lot of my hits, and that still seemed to work well for him because I would take return attacks when he was available because I had bigger attacks I felt I could throw at him, but he had a lot of block available to him, and so we ended up as a tie. I believe he was at 6 life, I was at 2. My round 5 was a no-show, so yay, I guess. I won that. And round 6, I was put up against a Briar, and there's not really any arcane blocking in this set, which makes Briar a really nasty person to fight against in this. And there was a lot of arcane damage thrown at me, and in the end it was too much. There wasn't really much I could do. I think I was at 2 at the end, and he threw 2 arcane damage at me. He had a lot of the blocks that would give you throw an arcane damage at you, and those were really annoying. But I think Briar is very strong and limited, and Briar might also be very strong, just in general. Who'd have think a rune blade that's strong? But that's the deck, and that's how I did for the sealed premiere. And that's it. And like I said, the calling was a lot of fun. We'll have more reports throughout the week talking about the different events that I participated in and take a look at how those decks fared in those competitions. So stay tuned.